What does it actually mean for something to be good? Most people assume it's about perfection, flawless execution, or achieving the best possible result. But in this book, that idea is quietly challenged. Goodness is not presented as perfection, but as something more human, more intentional, and more connected. In good things, the concept of good becomes something you build through care, awareness, and attention. It's not about doing everything right, it's about being present enough to do things well. And that shift in perspective changes how you approach even the smallest moments. Attention is one of the most powerful tools you have, yet it is often overlooked. The book shows that when you truly pay attention to what you are doing, everything improves naturally. Flavors become clearer, decisions become easier, and results become more consistent. According to Samin Nosrat, attention is what separates average outcomes from meaningful ones. Without it, you rely on habit and guesswork. But with it, you begin to understand what you are creating, and that understanding leads to better results. The book repeatedly returns to the idea that simplicity is often more powerful than complexity. You don't need dozens of elements to create something meaningful. Instead, you need a few elements used with intention. This idea applies far beyond the kitchen. In life, people often chase more goals, more tasks, more distractions. But real quality often comes from doing fewer things better. When you focus on what truly matters, everything becomes clearer. And clarity leads to better outcomes. Learning is presented as an ongoing process, not a final destination. The book highlights that growth comes from curiosity and openness. When you are willing to learn, you remain adaptable. You are not limited by what you already know. Instead, you continue to improve over time. This mindset removes the pressure to be perfect, and it replaces it with a desire to grow. Mistakes are not treated as failures, but as essential steps toward improvement. Each mistake teaches you something you would not learn otherwise. When you accept this, you become more willing to experiment. You stop fearing failure and start using it as a tool. Over time, this builds confidence, and that confidence allows you to keep improving. Food becomes more than just nourishment, it becomes a way to connect. The book shows how shared experiences create deeper meaning. A simple meal can bring people closer together. It can create memories that last far beyond the moment. This highlights that good things are not just about quality, they are about connection. And connection is what gives experiences lasting value. Care is what transforms ordinary actions into meaningful ones. When you care about what you are doing, it shows in the result. This applies to everything from cooking to work to relationships. Care requires time and attention, but it also creates better outcomes. It adds depth to your actions, and that depth is what people notice. The book encourages slowing down in a world that values speed. When you rush, you miss details. When you slow down, you begin to notice them. These details add richness to your experiences. They make ordinary moments feel more meaningful, and over time, this changes how you live. Appreciation shifts your focus from what is missing to what is present. When you take time to appreciate simple things, your mindset changes. You begin to feel more content. This does not mean ignoring challenges, but balancing them. And that balance creates a more fulfilling experience of life. These ideas are powerful, but they raise an important question. How do you bring them into your daily life? How do you move from understanding to action? And how do you consistently create good things? Understanding what matters is only the beginning. The real transformation happens when you apply those ideas consistently. Practice is what turns awareness into skill. Each repetition helps you improve even if the progress feels small. Over time, those small improvements add up. and that is what creates mastery. Perfection is not required from the start. Instead, the book encourages continuous adjustment. You learn by observing results and making changes. This reduces pressure and increases flexibility. It allows you to improve naturally, and that mindset leads to better outcomes. Focus allows you to give your full attention to what you are doing. Without it, quality suffers. The book emphasizes creating conditions that support focus. This includes reducing distractions and being present. When you do this, your work improves, and so does your experience. Preparation makes everything easier. When you take time to prepare, you reduce mistakes, you create a smoother process, and that leads to better results. Preparation may seem small, but it has a big impact. The process itself is where most of life happens. If you only focus on outcomes, you miss that experience. But when you enjoy the process, everything becomes more meaningful. This creates a positive cycle, and that cycle leads to consistency. Learning from others accelerates growth. You gain insights from their knowledge and experience. This helps you avoid common mistakes, and it allows you to improve faster. Growth is gradual. It requires patience and consistency. Each small step contributes to improvement, and over time, those steps create meaningful change. Reflection helps you understand what worked and what didn't. This awareness allows you to adjust, and those adjustments lead to improvement. As you apply these ideas, your confidence increases, your skills improve, and your mindset shifts. This transformation is gradual but powerful. At this point, something subtle but powerful begins to shift. The ideas from good things are no longer separate lessons you try to remember. They start to blend into your everyday actions, almost without effort. You begin to approach simple tasks with more awareness, noticing details that once felt invisible. Even routine moments like preparing a meal or having a conversation start to feel more intentional. This is not a dramatic transformation that happens overnight. It is quiet, steady, and deeply personal. And over time, it becomes your new normal, shaping how you experience everything around you. Confidence here does not come from perfection or external validation. It grows from repeated experience and understanding. Each time you pay attention, adjust, and improve, you build trust in yourself. You no longer rely on guessing or rushing through things. Instead, you move with a sense of clarity and purpose. This confidence feels different. It is calm, not forced. It allows you to handle challenges without becoming overwhelmed. And that quiet confidence changes how you show up in every situation. As your approach changes, your relationships begin to shift as well. You become more present in your interactions, listening more carefully, and responding more thoughtfully. These small changes create deeper connections with others. Moments that once felt routine begin to carry emotional weight. Sharing experiences, whether it's a meal, a conversation, or simply time together, becomes more meaningful. The book reminds you that good things are rarely created in isolation. They are often experienced together through connection. And those shared moments are what people remember most. There is also a shift that happens internally. You begin to find satisfaction in the process itself, not just the outcome. Simple moments, like sitting quietly, enjoying a meal, or completing a task with care, start to feel fulfilling. This kind of fulfillment is not dependent on external success or recognition. It comes from knowing that you are fully present in what you are doing, and that presence creates a deeper sense of contentment. Over time, this becomes more stable than chasing constant achievement. Even as things improve, the journey does not end. Growth is not something you complete, It is something you continue. There will always be new challenges, new lessons, and new opportunities to improve. But now you approach them differently. Instead of feeling overwhelmed, you see them as part of the process. Each experience becomes another chance to learn and refine your approach. This mindset keeps you moving forward without pressure, and it allows growth to feel natural instead of forced. Looking back, the biggest change is not in what you have achieved, but in how you see things. The ideas from this book reshape your perspective in subtle but lasting ways. You begin to value quality over speed, presence over distraction, and connection over isolation. These shifts may seem small, but they affect everything you do. They influence your decisions, your habits, and your relationships. And over time, they create a life that feels more intentional. This is what makes the message of the book so powerful. It stays with you long after you finish it. As these ideas become part of your life, you naturally begin to share them with others. Not by forcing advice, but through your actions. People notice the way you approach things differently. They see the care, the attention, and the calm confidence. And that often sparks curiosity. In this way, the impact of these ideas extends beyond you. It begins to influence others as well, and that creates a ripple effect that continues to grow. Each day becomes a fresh opportunity to apply what you have learned. You are not expected to be perfect, and you will still make mistakes. But now, those mistakes are part of the process, not something to avoid. You wake up with a clearer sense of direction, you approach the day with more awareness and intention, and even small improvements begin to feel meaningful. This creates momentum, and that momentum keeps you moving forward. Perhaps the most important change is how present you become. Instead of constantly thinking about the past or worrying about the future, you spend more time in the moment. This does not mean ignoring responsibilities, it means fully engaging with them. Presence allows you to experience life more deeply, it reduces unnecessary stress, and increases clarity. And over time, it becomes one of the most valuable skills you develop. This is not just a book about creating good things, it is about becoming someone who creates them naturally. It teaches you to pay attention, to care deeply, and to approach life with intention. These lessons apply far beyond the kitchen. They shape how you work, how you connect, and how you grow. And that is what makes them lasting. Because once you begin to see life this way, it becomes difficult to go back to rushing through it. If you made it this far, take a moment and think about this. What is one small thing you can start doing differently today to create more good things in your life? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I go through every single one. And if you enjoy deep cinematic book breakdowns like this, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one.